The following presentation is for mature audiences only.
Who are you?
He's a fine man.
All hell is broken loose.
He's a great broadcaster.
He's a very powerful guy.
Absolutely brilliant.
Feared by men, adored by women.
He's a smart boy.
It's patriotic.
It's no big deal.
It's the end of the world. I might as well tell you now. He's a monkey.
And how you doing, ladies and germs and bald-headed worms? Welcome into another edition of The Wild Side with Eric Clark. I'm your host, Eric Clark, saying thank you for taking time out of your busy day solving all of the world's problems on social media to give my little video a watch and a listen. If you like it, like it. If you think other people are going to dig it, give it a share. Make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube channel and you're following me on all the social media platforms. That way, if there's a band, song, video, subject you want me to rant about, hit me up with a DM or leave it in the comments below. If you are going to hit me up with a DM, please practice brevity and no spamming. If you are going to leave it in the comments below, please practice brevity and join the I Concur Army. All you have to do to join the I Concur Army is give the comments a cursory glance. If you see your comment has already been made by someone else, all you have to do is leave a like on that comment and below reply with I concur. Or if you see someone else's comment that you just agree with, all you have to do is leave a like and an I concur. That helps my old burnout resin-coated DJ brain put everything into a most requested list. Then I can get it into the handy, this thing's, I'm going to take it off, the handy dandy notebook. Also, every Saturday at 2 p.m. Central Time, here on the east side of Nashville, we go live with the Wild Side Live. Your chance to ask me questions, give me your comments, give me your thoughts, make your requests for song videos and things like that. Ask me about the radio industry or whatever. It's 2 hours. The only rule we have is no politics, no religion. So that means it's all about the fun. Before we get to today's video, I do want to say thank you to Connect 200, Music to See, and of course, Aunt Betty's Nut Butter. They are proud sponsors of The Wild Side with Eric Clark, and I can't thank them enough. And I can't thank all of you enough. You guys have been absolutely spectacular as members of the I Concur Army. I thank you for your donations. I thank you for all of your contributions to The Wild Side. I said from the beginning I'm not going to ask people for money. It took almost a year before someone finally convinced me to turn monetizations on. So any contributions you make to The Wild Side with Eric Clark are appreciated. I'm humbled by them. It keeps a little bit of humility in the mind of a narcissist. And that's a very important thing because that's what we're going to talk about today. Today's video, I'm not going to be talking about music. We're going to be talking about social media and what it has done to the world. I've been saying for about the past 15 years, I can't wait to see in the future sociologists and probably anthropologists take a look and unpack at the absolute wreckage that is the human being because of our addiction and dependence on social media. Social media has created two very ugly things within the human: malignant narcissism and Munchausen by proxy. It's combined these. You can call it narcissism. It's bigger than that. It's bigger than malignant narcissism, and it's bigger than Munchausen by proxy because it combines the two. Everything is about me. If you don't care about what I care about, you are therefore the worst human being in the world. We see it all the time. What social media has done on the surface is create an unspoken false sense of obligation in you. You feel obligated in your soul to reply. You feel obligated to share. You feel obligated to subscribe. You feel obligated. All of your actions on social media, you feel obligated to do, not for any reason, but to do it. Well, I'm giving them attention. Okay, talked about it in the Grammys. Go back and watch that video as well. So you feel obligated. And I've been telling you from the beginning, this isn't a normal channel and this isn't a normal show. I'm doing the same thing I did in radio, but I'm doing it sitting in my back room. It's the same thing. Now, you have a false sense of obligation, yet I've never told you you're obligated to do anything. If you want to like it, like it. If you want to share it, share it. If you want to subscribe and follow, it's all up to you. You are not obligated to do so. I am not dependent on you to be a subscriber. I'm not. And I'm not going to make you feel that way. I'm not going to manipulate you into feeling any certain way, to guilt you into giving me money, to guilt you into feeling like you have to subscribe or like or share. Do it because you want to. But social media is the opposite. They guilt you through shame of your own ego to feel a certain way about something that means nothing to you in real life. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Everybody's walking around out here in reality where I live. If you look at my social media, very low presence on social media. But I see people walking around dressed like dumpster fires, smelling like feet and cheese. But I bet if I go to their social media page, everything is perfect. And their life is awesome. Because they have an obligation to fulfill. I am obligated to put on airs, as we say in the South. I'm obligated to wear this caricature because it makes me feel good. I get likes and shares, and that hits the dopamine. You're all addicted to the crack pipe of social media. You're all pooky. Remember that? I should have got a beverage before I started. You're all pooky. Sitting in the corner of your apartment in your underwear, sucking on the crack pipe that is social media. Shaking. Somebody liked my post. Somebody shared my post. The problem is, just like Pookie, you know it. You guys don't like it. I talk to enough of you where you're like, yeah, it's just we've been trained. You've had 15 years of brainwashing to feel a certain way. You've been trained for 15 years through the stroking of your ego and your superego to feel this unwarranted sense of obligation to things that have absolutely nothing to do with your own life, and you know it. And you know it. So then you say, well, how can I get out of that? How can I break the yoke? How do I break the chains of social media holding me back from actually focusing on things that actually affect my day-to-day life and my existence on this planet? Because I'm going to remind you of something. You only get one of these. You only get one of them. Why are you spending it brainwashed by social media to feel things you shouldn't be feeling or even have to feel? It's messing us up. It's creating guilt. It's creating shame where it need not be. All so you can get traffic and get dopamine hits. So you say, Eric, how do I get away from that? How do we be like you? First off, don't. But no, I'm not dependent. My disposition, my emotional disposition, my day-to-day interactions are not dependent on social media. I get absolutely nothing from social media other than a platform to promote my product, interaction with the people who consume my product, and some highlights of the day. That's pretty much what I use social media for. I don't get involved emotionally with social media. Maybe it's because I'm a sociopath. I don't know. But I've become very apathetic since the invention of social media. So you say, Eric, how do we break the yoke? Well, let me tell you. There are 5 things, first, you need to hear. Because if you don't hear these things, you're going to be back where you started. You're going to be right in there with everyone else that you're trying to break away from. You have the School of Fish. Great band, by the way. 3 Strange Days is a great tune. Damn it, now I got that song in my head. We are a school of fish. And right now the school of fish is eating itself. So you say, how do I get away from that? Well, you have to hear some very hard truths. Because if you don't hear hard truths, then you won't believe it. Right? So you're going to think, well, that's not the way it's done. So you have to be able to accept certain things before you can grow out of that yoke. And it just so happens that these 5 things that you need to hear also happen to be 5 things you need to start saying to people. It'll make you healthier. Trust me. Remember, you have been brainwashed through guilt and shame by using your own ego against you. Remember this. You have to remember this, that you have been tricked by a marketing tool with an unfounded sense of obligation through ego, shame, and guilt to feel feelings about things that have nothing to do with you. Don't affect you in any way, nor should they. Okay? So the things you need to hear are also the things you need to say. And it's all to protect you. It's all to help you grow away from this. Because this is childish and we all need to grow up. So the 5 things you need to hear, which also happen to be the 5 things you need to start saying. Number 1, no. Back in the day, this guy wrote a book called Boundaries. It was about setting boundaries to protect yourself and your emotions from the manipulation of narcissists. And that word is real simple. No. It's a very simple word. One syllable, 2 letters. No. And if you're a parent, you really need to start saying it to your kids. Children need to hear no a lot. Adults need to start hearing no quite often. Because on social media, you don't hear no. And if you do hear no, you'll get enough, support and defense. It's all an echo chamber. So in reality, in the real world, you need to hear the word no. Hey, Dad, can I have $20? No. You need to hear it. And the reason you need to be able to say it is so that you are confident in your decisions as an adult. You need to be confident. So when you tell someone no, if they say, well, why not? You can actually look an adult in the face and you're allowed to say, it's none of your business. It's not rude. Now, you're going to be told it's rude because this is part of that manipulation. Because you saying no to somebody or you hearing no from somebody, it hurts. Yeah, it does, man. It sucks. But that's life. That's reality. You're going to be told no in life a lot. So you need to be able to hear it with respect towards the person saying no. And you need to respect them and their declination of your request. Because remember, it's a request. It's like when people send me suggestions and then they'll follow it up. Hey, man, are you going to do this? Dude, it's a suggestion. Settle down. And I'm a human, so I might not do it out of spite just because I'm that guy. So you need to hear the word no, but you also need to start saying it to people. You need to start setting your boundaries. Do not allow yourself to be manipulated through that ego and id. Do not allow a narcissist into your emotions because they will manipulate them for their own gain. They don't care about you. They care what they're getting from you. And if you don't give it to them, they're going to go somewhere else. That's social media. So be confident. Be cool with saying, you know what? No, dude. Well, why not? None of your business. Stand your ground. Stand up for yourself. Defend your emotions. Protect your emotions. You're an adult. Nobody's threatening you with a weapon. If they are, call the cops. But for the most part, there's no consequence here. Oh, you're going to get canceled from social media. Okay. What does that mean? What does that mean? It means nothing to me, man. It means nothing. So you need to hear no, and you need to start saying no. And that leads me to number 2. The other thing you need to hear through this false sense of obligation that you've been brainwashed into feeling through the manipulation of your emotions. You know what you need to hear? So what? So what? I'm tired of watching cops pull people over. I'm tired of hearing excuses. I'm tired of it, man. People are out here behaving like absolute morons. They're behaving in ways that are the worst example of human behavior. And then when you call them out on it, they'll turn around and do well, I was molested as a child. So? I'm a veteran. So? I'm a victim. So? I'm not even denying that you're a victim. What I'm saying is, so what? It doesn't excuse your behavior. Your opinion, your feelings don't excuse any wrong behavior. So if someone's trying to manipulate your emotions, so don't let them. That's how you defend your emotions. But you need to hear it too, because it reminds you that you're not the center of the universe. This isn't all about you. Other people feel things that you don't feel. They care about things you don't care about. You care about things they don't care about. So what? Don't even focus on those things. That's what the so what means. So what? It shouldn't keep us from being decent humans to each other. We can still be decent human beings to each other. If I say so what? You should be able to, make sure this isn't my kid. No, it's not. You should be able to, I think it's his dentist actually. You should be able to say, so what, to an adult. And as an adult, you should be able to hear it. You should be able to hear that you didn't get your way. That's what this is. You not getting your way. But social media has created, like I said, this obligation that you now see in other people. Well, but you're obligated to like and share and comment, or my day won't finish. No, dude, maybe I just don't care. And that leads me to number 3. The number 3 thing you need to hear, which also happens to be the number 3 thing you need to start saying, I don't care. Or why should I care? I don't care. You should be okay with hearing that. You should be okay as an adult with someone saying, I don't care. It should make total sense to you as an adult that there are people out here who don't share your priorities of concern. So, I don't care shouldn't hurt your feelings. It should make total sense. It shouldn't be offensive to you if someone doesn't care about something you care about, no matter how morally correct you may feel the subject matter to be. There are people out there that don't care about the president. They don't care about politics. They don't care about transgender issues. They don't care. Doesn't make them a bad person. It just means that those aren't priorities of concern for them because they are living a life unlike yours and they have a different set of priorities of concern, not yours. So you need to be okay with hearing, I don't care. And you better be ready if someone says, why should I care? That's mine. I like to say that. Why should I care? Give me a good reason why I should care about this thing you care about. Knowing that we're two completely different people that have lived two completely different lives. Why should I care? And if I don't, why are you making me feel bad? Because it's that ego. It's the narcissism. Well, you don't care about what I care about, therefore you don't care about me. Well, that's a hell of an extrapolation. That really is, man. That's really interesting how you get that from there to there. I love watching that because if I don't care, then if I say I don't care and then you come back at me with some feelings, you should already know I don't care. So if you're accusing me of not caring, the accusation of me not caring has no effect because, again, this is all about you and how you feel about what I say or how you feel about what I feel, which is very selfish. That's narcissistic. To assume other people are going to assume your concerns out of obligation because they have to, not because they want to, because they care about you, but because I feel this way and now you should all feel this way too. No, I don't care. What do you mean you don't care? Well, it's English. It's only 3 words. I get paid to speak. So I know I said it clearly. I don't care. And I'm okay with that because there are things that I care about that I know you don't care about. And I'm okay with it because we live separate lives. So I don't care. The 4th thing you need to hear that you also need to start saying to people, but more importantly, you need to hear, who are you? Social media has done this other really interesting thing. It's given a false sense of authority over the subjective. I'll say it again. It's given the false sense of authority over the subjective. Meaning, best album, that's subjective. There's no wrong answer. There's no right answer. It's subjective. Best piece of art, subjective. Best album, subjective. Best football team, subjective. Although there's ways to quantify sports teams. But for the most part, the world I work in, pop culture, music, it's all subjective. But I deal with authorities. One of the funny things about me, aside from my face, is that never have I assumed authority. Even though I have 30 years plus of working on air, rock radio. I've done music research. I've done market research. I've done demographic research. I have thousands of hours of interviews with bands, artists, producers, engineers. I've done arbitrage. I have packed my brain with as much. I've read books on every band. I've tried to retain as much of the information as I can. But even all of that, even though I'm the guy on the radio, I'm Jake Wilde in the air chair on your radio dial, I am not the authority on rock and roll. I may know a lot about rock and roll. I may be an expert on rock and roll, its history, the zeitgeist, but I'm not the authority. I am no one to tell you what band you should like, what song is good, none of that. When you watch my videos, you're seeing me tell you flat out, this is what I think. This is how this song is heard by my ears, in my brain. I have never gotten on there and said, this band is the best band, or this you need to like this band. If you don't like this band, here's what it is. I'm never going to judge you. I'm never going to manipulate your emotions by saying, if you don't like what I'm saying about this band, you therefore are diminished in your value as a consumer of these products. That's arrogant. That's that malignant narcissism. If I think that what I say is the end-all, be-all for anything that is subjective. So who am I? That's the question I would always keep in my head while working in radio. Well, who am I, man? I'm nobody to tell you. You know, and I've said this about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's the same attitude. Who are you? Who are you to tell anybody who belongs enshrined in a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Because rock and roll is such a unique and individual genre of music that you possess. You, in your own possession, have the best Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because it's yours. No one is the authority over you. So you need to start digging in your heels with people and come back at them with, who are you? I'm not saying you do what I do, because I'm from New Jersey. We don't have polite. And if you want to, you always know a fight's getting ready to start with New Jersey guys, because the phrase, you think you're better than me, is going to be heard. As soon as you hear the phrase, oh, you think you're better than me, the Southern version of that would be the starting the song, Kickstart My Heart in a bar. That's usually going to lead to a fight. But I grew up looking people in the face. Well, who are you? Who are you to tell me to do anything? You're not the authority. You're not a judge. You're not a cop. Get away from me. That's the New Jersey way of saying it. But you need to find a polite way of establishing your own authority over your own disposition. Do not allow other people to dictate without authority how you feel. That's what narcissists do. They manipulate your ego and then they attack your id. They stroke you and poke you. I heard it. I heard it when I said it, man. I get it. But again, social media has created this false sense of obligation to things that have absolutely nothing to do with you. And they manipulate you through guilt and through shame and through ego. They reward you while punishing you at the same time. So you need to start establishing your boundaries, and you need to start defending your emotions. And the only way to do that is to make sure that you are the one who is in charge of you. You are the authority. Don't confuse your emotions with your authority. Don't confuse someone else's want of you with your authority over yourself. You are in control of your emotions, and you are in control of your obligations. You are not obligated to everybody all the time. And the only way to defend yourself against that is not telling other people to leave you alone. It's not engaging. It's digging in your heels. It's standing up for yourself. Because again, social media has created this malignant narcissism along with this Munchausen by proxy that has made everybody believe that everything is about them. And if not, you're the bad guy for not understanding that. I'm a victim, so therefore I'm going to bully you. Victim bullies. I've had these conversations previously about these people. They're victim bullies. They're going to use some emotional manipulation to guilt you into an obligation that has absolutely nothing to do with you because you're scared of being shamed and feel guilt over something that has absolutely nothing to do with you. It's a really cool trick, isn't it? It's quite the psychological manipulation if you sit back and actually think about it. And that leads me to number 5, what this is all about. Number 5. The number 5 thing you need to hear and the number 5 thing you need to say. When I was a small lad, when I was a wee lad, I went into school one day and the teacher said, they want to see you in the office, Eric. I was like, oh, I start thinking, what did I do? What did I say? I was a smart mouth because I was a fifth grader who had the mindset of a 40-year-old comic. So, I was a handful. I will admit that I should buy a lot of people flowers and retirement presents for their teaching careers. But I went down to the office, and they told me that after 4 weeks of being in the fourth grade, I am now moved up to the fifth grade. I am skipping fourth grade, and I am being placed in these special classes for these gifted children because these are special children. So I went home. I was very excited. I told my dad, hey, Dad, I'm special. And he said something, I got to give the guy credit. He said enough to me in a way that it stuck. He rarely had to say things twice to us. He just usually one time, and it was very effective. So I said, hey, Dad, I'm special. And he said, no, you're not. Right to my face. No, you're not. You're not special, son. I said, what do you mean I'm not special, Dad? The school just told me I'm special. He said, well, you're special to me. And you're special to your mom. You might be special to your siblings, but you're special to the people that love you. To everybody else out there, you're in the way until you prove useful. And even then, only useful to them. Never forget that. That's the world. I am special to my mom, to my dad, to my wife, to my sons, to the people that love me. But to absolute strangers who have no obligation to me, don't know me, have no obligation to me, I'm not special. I'm just some guy until I prove myself useful. And even then, 9 out of 10 people are just going to treat me that way because I'm facilitating something for them. Being in radio helped. It really did. Because after a couple of years, you realize it doesn't matter who's wearing this shirt. It doesn't matter who's on the air. People are just calling you and hanging out with you because you give them free stuff. That's the sadness. Same thing. I remember seeing the dude from Seether sitting on we had these broken toilets behind our station where the bands would sit and we would take photographs of them just because we're funny like that. So we were waiting on the van to take us down to the Bridgestone Arena for the Seether show, and lead singer was sitting on one of the broken toilets just by himself. And it hit me. That's when I was like, okay, there's another one of these moments where you look over and you see this man sitting on the toilet and you say, dude, how does that feel to live every day of your life knowing that from the time you wake up until the time you go to bed, 99% of the people are only being nice to you because you're the lead singer of a rock band. Like I can see it setting in on him. He's tired. He's exhausted. He's like, oh, dude, I just want to be me. I just want to be my own guy. I just want to be who I am. So I knew that. I wasn't special, man. I'm just some guy on the radio. And I had to explain that to my late wife when she got upset one night. We were driving home from a bar, and she was doing the arms folded, look out the window when normally we're singing along and we're having a good time, and we stop at Whataburger for the late night burger and shake, little treat for our night out. Nah, she was doing this. Now, I'm not one of those foolish men that says what's wrong. No, see, I'm a smart man. I already know what's wrong. I don't even have to ask. I know exactly what the problem is. She had a couple of pops, and she saw her husband out there smiling and laughing with the listeners, being charming, being my charming self. And who were among those listeners? A couple of attractive women. So I pulled into a parking space, and I said, honey, you're not getting your milkshake until you tell me what's wrong. I know what's wrong, but I need you to say it out loud so that you hear yourself say it, so that you acknowledge this is what's wrong. And then she dropped the, why don't you go ask one of your girlfriends? There it is. There it is. So I had to explain to her how grounded I am, that I know I'm not special, that I know that when I'm out in that environment, everybody's just talking to me because I'm Jake Wilde from the radio station. I'm wearing the shirt, and I've got a table with CDs, and I've got a registration box for backstage tickets. Yeah, everybody's going to be nice to me. But here's something that my wife didn't know. I already knew I wasn't special. I'd had that beaten out of me before I even left high school. I said, honey, how sad do you think it is that I know that everybody talking to me just wants something from me? They don't care about me. I just got the logo on my shirt, even though my ego loves it, even though my ego is drinking it all in. In the back of my brain, I know. I'm just some guy with a shirt, man. I'm facilitating access to something these people want. And as far as the attractive women go, I don't know who they are. They could be the wife of the owner of the club. They could be the daughter of the station owner. They could be anybody. I'm going to be nice to everyone. I'm going to be nice and polite to everyone. But what she didn't see was the conversations I was having. The long conversations, the in-depth conversations were usually with dudes who were listeners of the radio station. They knew the DJs, they knew the bands, they knew the music. Whereas these hot chicks think they can walk up to me with their Cleveland and I'm going to, here's some stuff. No, first, I got a hot wife. She's an SEC cheerleader, bro, and she's an attorney. There's nothing you have. There's nothing. My wife couldn't understand. That's how I saw her. Bro, there's nothing you're going to throw at me. That's her. No, you're not beating that. So it never crossed my mind. That thought never crossed my mind. I mean, I got the girl. I'm not going to throw that away over some bimbos in a bar in Pensacola, Florida. Plus, I'm not special. I'm just some guy on the radio. So you need to start assuming that disposition towards other people, because those other people are going to manipulate your emotions into fulfilling their own ego need. Mine's just here for the video, dude. I don't need constant ego stroking. Now, I know that my friends who may see this will argue with you, but I don't feel I do. I get it out of my system. But I know in my heart of hearts, I'm not special. But a lot of you need to hear that. You're not special. You don't rule. You are just you. Your emotions, your feelings, your concerns, your cares are all yours, and they are awesome, and you deserve to feel whatever way you feel about them. But it's arrogance to feel as though you can put that on other people and expect reciprocation of that same emotion, of that same connection that you have to it. That's ego, man. That's all the malignant narcissism. And you're using that Munchausen by proxy to get that attention, to get that endorphin hit, to get that like and share, because you have been trained by social media with this false sense of obligation, not just from yourself, that you are obligated to interact, you are obligated to care, you are obligated to treat people as special. And then you also feel as though they're obligated to give it back. And they're not. Nobody owes you anything. And deserve has nothing to do with it. And what social media has created is a race of people who can't get out from under their own umbrella on a sunny day. The world exists out here. And it's real. And the existence that you have is singular and finite. And the only way to break away from this addiction to the crack pipe that is social media is to ground yourself into that reality. And you'll sleep better at night. Your guts won't be twisted. You need to stop caring so much. You have to start defending what I call the give a crap meter. I asked a relative in Florida, when is my meter filled with your crap? When is my give a crap meter filled with you? When do I get to fill it with me? When do I get to prioritize my concerns over yours? When is it socially acceptable to not care about something that has nothing to do with me? Because that's logical. Well, it has nothing to do with me. Well, you're just emotionless. No, I'm a pragmatist. If I care, again, that malignant narcissism, that sense of obligation, that everybody is obligated to you as much as you feel obligated to them, when in reality, you're not. We're all doing each other favors. But after 10 years of living that life every day, Doobie Brothers released an album called What Were Once Vices Are Now Habits. And the only way to break that habit, you need to hear no, so what, I don't care, who are you, and you're not special. And start saying them to people. You need to break that chain of dependency on that obligation because the obligation is false. It's absolutely false. So again, you're not obligated to me. When I make these videos, when I post online, you're not obligated to like, share, or anything. If you do, you do. Cool, awesome. But in turn, I'm not obligated either. I do my thing. Let me do my thing. Don't put pressure on me. Don't put obligations on me that I don't, just to fulfill whatever you have going on. Let me do my thing. I do my thing, you do your thing. If we come together in the middle, that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to come together while understanding each other's differences and respecting each other's spaces. But social media won't allow that. And you have to break away from it. So anyway, those are the 5 things you need to hear and the 5 things you need to start saying. Trust me, it'll give you a healthier life. It'll give you less dependency on social media. You'll go into your day every day motivated and ready to go actually deal with an existence that is real. Because remember, you only get one. It's very short. You are but a whisper. Don't spend your whisper screaming into the ether of nothingness. Please, I'm begging you, stop. Again, you're not obligated to me. We don't have to have constant back and forth, man. It's not that. I'm not that dude. So you're not obligated, and I'm not obligated to you. Let's move from there. Let's just have fun, talking about music, talking about things we share. Enjoy those moments of reality with each other instead of the burden that is the malignant narcissism and Munchausen by proxy, manipulating your emotions and guilt and shame and your ego and id, battling it out over things that mean nothing to you, that have absolutely no effect on your day-to-day life. Never be ashamed to feel the way you feel. There might be ways to shape it and say it where it's more polite, but don't ever be ashamed to feel the way you feel. There's no such thing as a guilty pleasure. As long as there is no malice in your behavior, you're allowed to feel and think anything you want, and you're obligated to nobody to explain yourself. Take control of yourself. Set your boundaries. You can still do that and be a good human being. I've been doing it for a while now. Set your boundaries. Be proud of who you are, stand your ground, and don't be scared of the guilt. Maybe it's because I was raised by my mom, the travel agent of guilt trips. By the time I became a parent, this kid's lying on the floor screaming and yelling and crying. I got nothing for you, man, because I know what you're screaming about is meaningless. Because I'm an adult and you're a child, so I know the difference. You don't because you're a child. That's social media. So you need to grow up. If you grow up, if you actually become an adult, you won't be dependent on social media. You won't. You'll see the childishness of it. And you'll start to use it for what it is, a place to get the wild side with Eric Clark videos. Because that's the only reason you should be on social media. After I just get done talking about narcissism. Anyway, use it for what it is. Don't depend on it. It's your oxygen tank. It's your crack pipe in the corner. You got to set it down. I am your iced tea. You are my Pookie. Let me guide you out of New Jack City of social media. Because I'm looking out for you, man. I try to do that. And again, every time I throw these out, if you have a suggestion, hit me up, DM, all this other stuff. I say it at the end of all of my little videos, and I do mean it. I really do. You got to start looking out for each other. You got to start looking out for your neighbor. Try to do at least one good thing a day. I am Eric Clark, and this has been The Wild Side.